And then you mentioned about community with Ben Askerton. Obviously, you come from an amazing gym with incredible people, but more importantly, you did it at a really amazing time. You were there with Gordon Ryan and Garry Tonon and John Danaher. And, it's people know it's Henzo's place, but if people haven't experienced Henzo Gracie, like he is one of one. Like that
Oh
guy,
yeah.
he
Oh, that
walks
guy.
into a room and somebody that just commands attention and is just larger than life. But you have so many different amazing personalities in there that are all special in their own way and all found each other and created this amazing group that, you have Jason Yang and Marlon Suarez and Jason Rao. And, those guys come from Matt Serra and Sean Williams. So being in the room for years with some of the most amazing minds and humans in the game that are going to go down as legends in this world. What was it like being a fly on the wall or, participating in
Yeah.
such an
I
amazing
mean, it
time in
was
such an amazing place?
no, it was great. Like those, like listen, I was the nail, right? I was in the hammer. Like, let's get it straight. Like I was a nail, and they're all gracious, like that, never got hurt with those guys, which is great. Like that was always a thing. And they would always, you'd be like the third or fourth roll. They would ask you to come over, when they finally figured out that you weren't going to hurt them, right? So that's like the thing. No, it was really an amazing time. They just seeing like how they at that time they were pinnacle of the sport. This was when everybody was together, even the Canadians that would come over, like Ethan and Taza who were over at B team and Nikki too. Like all those guys like were there at the same time. Even when Craig was there towards the tail end, just pre-COVID, like that room when you walked in, everybody's there, right? And Jason Rao and and then his partner too over at
Nick Ronan?
yeah, Nick's great. Like Nick's
Yeah, Nick's incredible.
like an assassin wrestler that like started putting jiu-jitsu together. I'm like, oh, like you're riddled. So yeah, like it was really, and then even Eddie Cummings was there. Like he was there when I was there, and then he was like phasing out, went back to school to finish his PhD in physics. Like, so he's working for a bank now somewhere or investment firm. But to be a fly on the wall there, like you really like, you never took it for granted. You're like, this is where it was. And everybody, you'd have to be there on those days because it was just like you saw everybody. The learning spectrum with that, it's a sponge. What's interesting is that people could get that instruction now from like BJJ Fanatic. Like those things, like we would just, you buy it to support them. But like when you see those things, like those are top notch when you see John's and Gary's and Gordon's instructionals, like top notch. You couldn't get that. Like even when you're sitting in that room, you couldn't get that kind of like instruction. And
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
and when they ask for like, oh, it's like whatever it is, something that's 350 or $500 for it. Like that's how much it costs for like an hour private. So like pay the money for that. Like when BJJ Fanatics does like a 50% off, buy that. Like that,
Yeah.
you can't get that anywhere. Like now I feel like it's cheating, but like I think it's awesome that because we didn't have that 2010 or whatever. You had to
Nope.
just show up. And like you didn't take notes. You thought people like, oh, you could take notes, whatever. Like no. Like it amazes me that people can take notes with that and sit there and take notes and then do it. Like, no, you have to feel all that.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
all like, oh, when this guy puts pressure here, I have to do this to get out of the way. Like you can't write that down. Like, yeah, there's steps to it. But it's amazing to me now that they have the videos. And the only thing closest to that was like in judo, they would have all the movements in the Kodokan that they would have like drawings. So you just see the drawings and you can kind of figure out where you put your leg. You can figure out because it's like each step for each movement. There was some video demonstration, but not much. It was all bootleg. But what you see now is really amazing. And as far as Henzo goes, like Henzo, when I was there, like when he would teach a class, like he's busy. He had schools all over the world basically. When he's like do a drop in and then take over someone's class and start teaching the class, that was like an eclipse, right? Like you're like this, like oh my god, like Henzo's here, like this is great. And he would show like great technique, and that was amazing. Like to see that. And he still does that now in New York City. Like he'll come in, like now they're smarter. They'll make an announcement. You'll get an email that says, "Hey, we're coming in. Like Tenzo's teaching this day," and then people will go to that day. So like
Yeah.
you couldn't miss it every time. But every time we took it, the guy was great. Lights up Peru. And then so even in Chicago, I've been to Adrisa's and the Redovic spot, right? I think at the Loop and there's one in Lincoln Park. I think he is.
Yeah, they have like downtown jiu-jitsu club, and then they have like another school over there too, right?
Yeah.
Like Adam and the other guy.
Yeah, Idris. Yeah, so that's I've been there years ago. Just they were very gracious in having. They're like Gracie from there as well, if I believe if I remember correctly. But are you training in Chicago?
Yeah, so I train out in the suburbs over there, but my buddy's a black belt who trains out of Valco, which you should definitely go on his podcast, by the way. He's got a great podcast, Pro Fighter. Keith Floyd's been on his podcast, Marlon's been on his podcast.
Awesome.
So he runs Valco. And then I actually just did a pro class at Mike Valley's place. Bilal Muhammad invited us down, so we trained over there with him. And
Nice.
then the school I trained at in primarily is the BJJ lab in Naperville with my buddy Brad Johns. That's a Damian Maya school.
Cool.
So we hop around a little bit, but yeah. So I haven't gotten as much like in the city training, but I actually just reached out to the one of the Rajovic brothers about doing a private, and he was like, "Yeah, hit me up." So I just got to plan some time to go out there.
Yeah, they're all gracious, right? Like that's the cool,
Yeah,
and that's how it should be. Like you should be able to like go to different gyms, right? I mean, listen, you're a black belt, so it's like they're happy to have you come in as a visitor, right? But even when but it's the old school mentality where it's like, all right, you're a member here, you can't go train anywhere else. Like, well, like no, right? Like, how do you test your metal, right? Like, how do
yeah.
you bring other things back that people are doing? Like, it's a good thing to do, but I guess there's like it's still tribal in some regards, you know?
It's gotten so much better though, and it's funny because I used to, I still do it most of the time. But if I'm somewhere and I'm traveling and I want to train somewhere, the first thing I do is I'll text Matt Serra, and I'll be like, "Hey man, I'm here in this area. These are the schools I'm looking at. You know, any yes, no." Like I always trying to ask permission first.
Sure.
And then for a while, I thought it was me saying, like, can I go here? And then as I started realizing over years of people would call him and be like, can I go here? Can I go there? And they would get a different answer. It wasn't always like, I don't want you to go to this other school because you're a reflection of me. Do I feel
Yeah.
comfortable having you represent me there too? So I was like, I forgot about that both ways of like, you specifically, I don't want you going there and saying you're my guy. So I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. So it's nice that he's like, yeah, 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 go, go, go. Because it's the same thing. Like you got to know how to handle yourself, not only on the mat, but your etiquette off the mat. You know what I mean? Your
Oh,
reflection
yeah.
of,
You're
yeah.
an ambassador, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Like you
always
want to be
took that
like
very
that guy.
seriously. It's like, I have to represent Matt Serra, Ray Longo, and Renzo Gracie, and that's like a big deal to go in there. You don't want
Oh
people
yeah.
saying, yeah, one of these guys came down and he was a shithead. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
Or he hurt people, right?
yeah,
Like that's the
yeah.
thing. And that's like that should be the impetus, right? Like that should be like you're a representative, this gym. If you're gonna tell people you got your belt X, Y, and Z from here, well, guess what? Like you gotta, and if it comes back that way, like there's a problem, right? You're in
Yeah.
trouble. Whatever we can do for the community, like we can start building structures like FixCare and getting the word out, like for in the communities, like it would be great. Like it's really good to be here.